Hey everyone, it's me again, Sam. I'm so happy this video was released much more quickly than the other one and that it was released now, because making these videos with school and my school's production literally right around the corner is proving to be a little bit difficult and really stressful. Who knew making videos would have been hard? But for anyone who wants to know, the production is The Addams Family. It's pretty cool. I'd never seen it. I know, please don't attack me. But yeah, look, I'm wearing a hoodie. Woo, I'm a gangster. Yeah. But yeah, I'm wearing it just because it's cold outside and I didn't know what else to wear. Anyway, on to the actual video. If you read the title, you may already know what this video is about. It's about gender. So, first things first, what is gender exactly? Simply put, gender identity, or gender expression is someone's personal perception of the gender they have. Everyone has one, even though they may not realize it's there, or what it's even called, or that it's even a thing. It usually is very deeply rooted in a person's personality and sense of self. And this is why repressing it can be really damaging. A person's gender identity, like your personality, can be influenced by a person's parents, surroundings, or society as they grow up. For example, today, society dictates the acceptable forms of masculinity and femininity and who can have and express those traits. And anything outside of those boundaries is usually really frowned upon, which quite frankly sucks, and it definitely shouldn't be that way. Anyway, for many people, their gender usually lines up with the sex they're assigned at birth. But for some people, these things don't align. And that's totally fine. That's cool, because that is what created the gender diverse community in the first place. A person's gender identity may change over time, never change, or they may have even more than one gender identity. Many people's perception of gender is either male or female, and these things are exactly the same as someone's sex. That, my friends, is not true. Gender, like sexuality, exists on a spectrum, and a massive one. This spectrum is huge, really diverse, and forever changing as people add their own identities and experiences to it. Sexuality and sex are also not related to your gender in any way, and they do not correspond. People can have any mix of sexualities, genders, and sex. Your sex does not need to align with your gender, and your gender does not need to align to a specific sexuality. You do you. And just to clear a couple of myths up before we go into the genders, while people who are gender diverse experience higher levels of depression statistically and anxiety and other mental illness, they are not mentally ill because they are gender diverse, and they are not gender diverse because they are mentally ill. The trauma comes from, for example, trying to live in a body they don't identify with, or from living in a society that doesn't accept them. Both cases, this is really sad. Also, being gender diverse is not because of a lack of male or female role models, or because of abuse the person suffered when they were younger. Like sexuality, we do not really know what causes people to be gender diverse. We just are, and that is fabulous. Now, let's talk about those genders. Cisgender, also known as cis, is the first one. This is basically when someone is not gender diverse at all, so their birth sex totally aligns with their gender identity and hasn't changed. Transgender or trans has now come to be an umbrella term to encompass anyone whose gender identity does not correspond with their birth sex. So basically it encompasses anyone who isn't cisgender. However, some people do still use it to describe someone who transitions or has transitioned from their birth gender/sex to another gender identity. For example, someone whose sex and gender began as female but turned into male gender since they did not like the identity of female. Transsexual, not to be confused with transgender, by the way, means someone who has permanently changed their body with the help of hormones, surgery, or other means. This term was, I think, coined and has been mainly used by medical communities, but some gender diverse people have begun to use the label because it suits them. Non-binary means a person experiences gender outside of the gender binary. Who knew? They may fall somewhere between male or female, or they actually just might fall somewhere totally outside of the two. However, this term is flexible and it does differ, the meaning does differ from person to person and depending on who you ask. Now, onto my gender. Genderqueer, woo! Like non-binary, genderqueer describes someone who experiences gender outside of the male/female binary. So not totally one or totally the other, or a mix of the two, etc. And again, this label is also very flexible and the definition is different depending on who you ask. Agender is a person who does not identify with any gender or just simply has a lack of gender. Androgyne or androgynous is used to describe someone who doesn't identify with or present as totally either a man or a woman, and generally has a mix of both masculine and feminine qualities. Their masculinity and femininity may have set amounts, but they may also be fluid and these amounts may change every day. Gender fluid is someone whose gender is fluid and fluctuates from day to day. A gender fluid person doesn't confine themselves to one gender or doesn't confine themselves to even a few. They may fluctuate between male and female or any other combination of genders and expressions. Bigender is someone who identifies with and has two distinct genders, such as man and woman or man and androgyne. Being bigender does not mean that each gender is 50-50, so to speak, and the amount they identify with each gender may fluctuate and change over time. Pangender is a non-binary gender identity, I think, referring to people who experience all gender identities either simultaneously or over time. And finally, third gender is a term used to describe someone who doesn't identify as a man or woman. It is also used by cultures and societies that recognize that there are more than just that there are more than just two genders. Its definition does change depending on who, what culture, and what society you ask, but that's the broad definition, I'm pretty sure. While there are a multitude of other words associated with these genders and the transgender community, and that there are also a whole bunch of other gender identities, these are the most widely used identities. And if I did all the terms and genders today, I would be here for hours. So definitely another video. Anyway, before I finished up, I just wanted to remind you guys that there is no right way to be gender diverse and that many different people are gender diverse. To be gender diverse, you don't need to be androgynous, feminine or masculine. You don't need to wear gender neutral clothing and you don't need to have any type of transitional surgery or hormones. And please respect people's pronouns. Just ask and don't assume. Your gender identity also reflects how you feel inside, and that is entirely up to you. Nobody gets to decide your gender for you or tell you how you should express your identity. You be you. But with that comes the end of this video. As always, don't forget to share, like, subscribe, follow, etc. and comment what you liked about it. Thanks everyone, and bye for now.